Here on lichess and Twitch, International Master William Paschall, also known as Slaggy on Twitch. We are Sparkle Horse on lichess. We don't have one brand name, we have many. So, welcome to all my friends in the stream. You guys are out in full force here. Monday, we had a great Sunday simul with lots of donations from Juicebox Wizard and from Clash Kid and Move 11 and everybody. I mean, it was crazy. So I want to thank you guys for that once again. Thanks so much, guys, for all your donations. Acerbate. We are going to get started here. It's Rapid and Blitz. I'm complaining about my eyesight. I'm starting to, for the first time, really need glasses for, short range. My distance vision is good. I don't wear glasses, for driving or anything like that, but being close up to the monitor, I'm starting to have blurry vision and have trouble reading small print. So I made it as far as I could, but approaching middle age, I'm afraid I'm going to have to bust out the reading glasses. You made the new Tinder account. That's good, man. Thank you for sharing. I'm interested. Just let me know how it goes. Alright, so we are ready to get started. It's going to be, again, thanks for joining me, subscribers. CPU just 3.9%. Jumped up to 14. Hopefully the lag doesn't get out of control. Alright, we got 5 challenges. Move 11, Dracofire. Okay, Dracofire and Alek, not Alexa, Alek are not subscribers. Asterbate JCS. We're taking the subscriber challenges first. We're going to hit up here Move 11 for the first game. He's pretty tough. Alright, let's hope we get white. I don't know. Santo Pedro, good evening. Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are. So I did get white. Ah, yes. I was afraid I was going to be black. Alright, Move 11, he's 2057. He's pretty tough. But we get white, and, he's not quite as tough when he's black. He seems kind of scary when he's white, actually. He's been scoring pretty well against my Sicilian. I think I'm going to have to switch openings. Now, D5. Now, as far as I know, he's a relatively new Queen's Gambit player, so he doesn't have a super deep knowledge of lines, and I think before he played D5, he was playing Knight F6, so he's made this transition to playing, wow, he played C6. Now, if he's playing the Queen's Gambit here, this is kind of a strange move. He's now going to be forced to play the Slav, and I didn't know that he played the Slav, which is, it's important that your opening repertoire... What's up, S4? You missed the simul yesterday. Good one. I don't know if the simul time is good for you. You're usually playing in my simul's European time. Maybe it's too late. But we had a great simul. I lost a whole bunch of games, but very few draws yesterday, strangely. So D4, only 2 draws. So we sort of tricked Move 11 into playing the Queen's Gambit, or Slav. Sorry, Slav. He normally plays the Queen's Gambit. Got to make sure your opening repertoire is kind of, cohesive, so we don't get tricked into playing things we don't play. My main concern in this opening is actually after C4, D4. Although Rapport Ritchie has been playing, B4, and I think that's White's best try. But strangely enough, after D4, B4, Rapport had a game with Nair or someone where Black played, was it? Oh, I'm trying to remember now. The Rapport versus Nair. It's not coming to me. Maybe G6 or something? Normally F6 is played. Anyway, I'm way far afield here. Move 11 playing the Slav, semi-Slav with Black. What's up, guys? Sorry you missed the simul, had a soccer game. That's more important. So Move 11 ends up playing, kind of, this. We see this a lot. A passive kind of Queen's Gambit in the place of the normal lines. I was always taught that this was bad for black, but I have seen some pretty good players transposed to these types of variations. So it's not quite as bad as I was always taught, like it was just bad for black. It's not that clear. It's just passive, a bit passive. I don't know how much Move 11 knows about this. Tory attack. Not exactly a Tory attack. In the Tory attack, I don't play c4. But it's like a Tory attack, in a sense. I'm playing knight f3, d4, bishop g5. So, Bob, the Tory attack is where you're playing a closed queen-pawn game with the same kingside setup, but I'm just, you're not playing c4. You're playing usually like c3 in those lines. Now, who is that? Antonio. You had your kid's birthday. That's much more important than soccer games or chess. All right. Castle c5. So, yeah, I think that Move 11 knows something here. Like, if it's not my imagination, I think Michael Adams had a game where he did this. Either Adams or Kramnik or somebody pretty good. It seems like it should be good for white. But, what choice do I have here? I mean, I have to take on d5 practically. Can't remember which one of those guys. Maybe both. So I think Move 11 knows something about this. Kramnik, Adams defense. Passive, but hard to get an advantage. Yeah, it seems strange to play c6 and then c5. Maybe I'm just confusing lines. It does seem hard to believe that this is really playable for black. You could also treat it differently, so you can accept an isolated queen pawn position with something like queen e2, cd, ed, d takes c, bishop takes. But to me that looks like he's getting his sort of tempo back, by hitting my bishop on c4. Knight takes d5, bishop takes g5. Knight takes g5. Queen takes g5. I don't see anything convincing for white there. Maybe I have knight c7, rook b8, and then like queen c2. That's not even a double attack because his queen like defends the pawn on c5 laterally. I think there's gonna be it's gonna be necessary to just plain look this up because I don't know what I'm doing. What would Alexander Alyakin do? I think I'm supposed to take on e7. I feel like I've been here already. And I'm afraid that Move 11 knows this. So he knows this. We have almost no advantage. We just play like routine moves. Very hard to exploit. I mean, we're ahead in development very slightly, but he doesn't have a lot of weaknesses. Bob, thank you for the donation. What are the real priorities? Chess, obviously. Chess and Tinder. So, obviously, pawn takes pawn. Not a lot of pieces left here. Two pieces or a set of pieces exchanged already. That means that isolated queen pawn could be more of a weakness, but he's not getting a lot of pressure on it. Let's take a risk and let him have this target. I keep his knight denied from good squares, stuff like that. All right. Yeah, I mean it's very Steinitzian black's position in this game. Very, very Steinitzian. I use a game that Karpov played against Korchnoi a lot of times to teach people strategy in isolated queen pawn positions. That's kind of coming into play here. Just really hard to do anything with white. This is an extremely artificial move. So thanks for the donations, guys. Bob should be on the list. What happened there? Am I lagging or something, Bob? That's the list. I thought you made a bits donation, Bob. You faked me out, man. I thought that was bits donation. I'm going to take this pawn. No. Move 11 tricked me. You know, I was looking at rook b8, but he's actually going to play like queen takes, bishop c6, wreck my king side. Yeah, there's nothing here. It was a fake bits donation. I thought those were bits donations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The list of the best IMs of all time. That's even better than a bit donation. Just an absolute compliment. Yeah. Yeah, queen takes pawn. Move 11 with a minute more than me. My eyes glaze over with blurriness. I have another excuse. Where's Nefedov? He likes when I make excuses. He's probably still... Actually, where is Nefedov? No. This is his time. He's a night owl. So if it's evening in Europe or in the UK, Nefedov should be on. You cannot improve the tactics rating. He stopped around 2400. I don't know how to get beyond that because I don't think I've gotten higher than that. I haven't really tried, but so knight takes d4, bishop takes h7 check, followed by rook takes d4, obviously. It's my very deep tactical idea here. But highly recommend you study the games of the world champions. The later Steinitz, not the early Steinitz, but the later Steinitz, you see how he, you know, with black would play setups like this where he has like no weaknesses. I always thought that's pretty cool. Literally, I mean, if you don't have weaknesses, you can't lose because the other guy has nothing to attack. And move 11 here, very limited in terms of weaknesses. Like, he's made no unnecessary pawn moves. There's an IM, you mean, yeah, of course, tricks only. Yeah, he's getting strong too. I mean, he hasn't been streaming lately, but he's improved his overall game, it looks like. I mean, his FIDE rating is going up. Okay, we have problems with knight takes d4 now. Yeah, actually, Tricks Only and I've been, you know, hosting sometimes streams, hosting his stream on my channel before. Seems like a good guy. If you don't watch me, okay. Please, no tactics. Draw, please. No, just kidding. No draw. He is kind of bottled up. I mean, the rook on f8 is out of play. I like this maneuver, but obviously it would be better if he got the rook across to like d8. Now he's out. What if I snack on that pawn on b7? He's getting my... What is going on here? Queen takes b7. Knight takes d4. He's hanging a rook. I'm tempted to take this. I like it. Love this. Alright. I'm usually in Hungary, but I'm actually in the United States now. Looks like move 11 must have a combo up his sleeve. I think he lost a piece. Let's see seeing further. I am up a piece. I'm curious to see what this opening is, you know? Like who played this? Kramnik? Adams? Is this for real? Just curious. Look at this. C5 nobody. I mean, maybe somebody played it against me in a simul before because I've definitely faced this. But I guess it's like a tempo down, but it still doesn't seem that bad for black. He like equalizes. There's an argument for taking with your queen there, definitely. Let me see this. D takes c5, rook c1, whatever. Okay, c takes d4. Now the computer would take with the knight. At least that's what it says at first. Turkey Farm. What's up, guys? So normally I would take with the knight, but I had the feeling he was expecting that. I decided to try something different. Man, I think this was a speculative move, though. Queen b3. It looks like you had b6, man. That makes a lot of sense. It denies my attack against b7, yeah. This is like, I'm not going anywhere after b6. Looks like that equalizes. So this is an unanswered question. I don't know why this is so bad for black. Nobody plays it. Even like a tempo down, like you guys said, with c5, c6, c5. It seems like it's really hard for white to get an advantage. Okay, Asturbate's up next, guys. I'm taking subscriber challenges first. Of course, knight takes d4 is more sound. Yeah. I just wanted to try something different. But, yep. 9 out of 10 tactics don't work. You heard it here first. Nope. Alright, I'm white again. This is awesome. I love being white. Every game, white. Yeah, of course, I hate the symmetrical structures, though. You know, it's just not fun when pawn structures are totally symmetrical. It's more fun if you're black, obviously. Guys, tomorrow night I'm going to host a viewer tournament here, as I do every week. On Tuesday, it's going to be Rapid this week, again. Again, as in like 2 weeks ago, it was Rapid. 7+2, I think. Move 11 knows this. It's the hyper accelerated dragon. Yeah, I mean, at least 9 out of 10 tactics don't work, right? Potential tactics. I should say combinations. Yeah. Right, then they're not tactics, they're mistakes. But drawing the line between these things is really hard. It just goes to show, like, you spend a lot of time thinking, you know, in your game. And you're the guy is like a sort of simpleton. You know, your opponent, let's say they're a simpleton. And you're just, like, spending all your time thinking about these combinations that don't work. You know, how many times have I played games like that where the other guy, he didn't calculate anything. I'm sitting there, I'm thinking all these, like, really imaginative, interesting, you know, combinational ideas using all my time. And then I lose the game because I wasted all my time thinking about stuff that didn't work. Is black already bad here? No, this is an opening that I play a lot with black, and move 11 does as well. This is a hyper-accelerated dragon. Main position, knight f6. I've joked before, the Spanish Grandmaster Bayon Lopez played f6 here in some games, and I think that's crazy, you know. But it's not good to play f6, but it's possible. Knight f6, yeah. So now we have 3 choices. We have 3 choices. We'll play the sharpest one, I guess, e5. I actually played this against someone who was asking me. Oh, Mr. Coffee was asking me about Boros Danish. I think I had a game with Boros Danish. I played black way more than with black here, way more than with white in the past. G6 was bad if followed by knight f6. Yeah, it's not bad. It's like the only move there. But this particular position, maybe it's just something you're getting confused. Silmarillion. Almost like Silmarillion. J.R.R. Tolkien. I think I would become a subscriber. I like your stream. Very high quality. Thanks to the work. Okay, you're welcome. Now, interesting moment. It looks like I allowed this pretty obscure line with like knight h5. Most of the time, white plays more commonly queen a4. Now, knight h5 may actually not be that bad of a move because he can bounce back to g7 and like through f5 and into e6. So that's a weird move. It looks weird, but it's actually not so bad, probably. I mean, I guess, like, yeah, I really need to go to e4 here. I could go to a4. You got to be careful not to drop your e5 pawn to something like queen h4, knight takes e5, knight takes e5, queen a5 check, and queen takes e5. So I give him the independent possibility of this knight h5, which I've personally, I wouldn't play. I would just play the main line in this position with knight to d5. But it's possible that knight h5 is not bad. It's kind of there was this older grandmaster, Jakob Murray, who I think he was in France, then he was in Israel. I don't know if he even plays chess. I don't know if he's even still alive, but he was big on this kind of thing. But here, you see, the problem is the knight oftentimes needs that retreat square back to g7. So Azerbay played bishop g7. He may be trapping his own knight in some lines. I'm not sure I can, though, because I'm too far behind in development. It's like g4, d5. But then I could take on d6. This is weird. There's some gambit possibilities here for Azerbay, like g4, d5. And then, well, actually, now that you mention it, I mean, if g4, d5, I can run away back to a4. So this is going to get kind of bizarre. g4, f5, take. All right, we're going to take the bull by the proverbial horns here and try to steal his knight. f5 instead of bishop g7. Yes, that's totally Murray style. But now I didn't calculate beyond this because I just assumed that this was good for me. But maybe it's not that bad for black. I mean, this is kind of crazy. But I have to take on f5. I was like, no one in their right mind is going to do this. But maybe my assumption that this is good for me is too big of an assumption. You see, you could play this kind of opening with white. I've been playing the English opening since I was a beginner, and basically the same type of lines. Wow, this is actually a strong move here. Quite interesting. Looks like I've taken my life in my hands. He's going to get in bishop takes f5 and have a good game now. That's pretty damn strong. Underestimating the opponent. Now I'm on the defensive, so wow. I just didn't really think f5 was good. Whew, man, that is annoying. G takes f5, d5. Alright. What can I do here? Obviously taking on d6, but then he plays bishop takes f5 with tempo, and I'm getting ripped apart. I have to find a way to catch up in development. It's practically impossible, though. Oh my goodness. Takes d6, bishop takes f5, d takes e7, bishop takes e4, queen, check. Probably losing there. This is an absolute disaster. I am probably toast here. Yeah, I did a mistake. I mean, I just thought I was very naive. I thought like g4 was just good for white, and it's apparently not. I thought bishop g7 was a mistake, and he was just giving me a piece, but f5, and I'm totally getting bombarded in this position. I have so many weaknesses, and it's very, very dangerous. We have problems. All right, now, fortunately he panicked with queen a5 check. Panic mode, and like white is probably okay. Materials equal. We can get rid of his white square bishop. He might even be lost. Well, that would be like terrible for him. He's actually losing a piece to bishop e2. Very unfortunate decision by Acerbate, but he played too quickly with queen a5 check. Knight d4 was a neglecting development too, but I am threatening his bishop. But the white square bishop was kind of ripping me apart. I just made a decision there. We'll see after the game. I agree it's not a developing move too, and I didn't really like it, but I didn't see anything better. So I'm just very fortunate. Acerbate, great job, you know, taking me out in the opening. Really creative, but he lost a piece anyway. Well, on a practical level, he played too fast. This is now bishop takes c4, rook d4. He wins a piece. No. Psych. Not. He just got a little nervous and then traded queens with queen a5, but it just wasn't a good idea there. Rook d4 doesn't work because of this check. And then we're just winning. Yeah, no, f5 was a great move. But I've never seen it work like that, you know, where he's basically, you know, trapping his own knight. I mean, it's usually played like someone suggested right away with the bishop still on f8, and that's generally when people would play f5. So I was like, okay, he missed his chance. I'm probably winning a piece here. It's a very instructive mistake by me. Let's take a look. And a line that I never play with white. Nefedov. Okay, bishop b5 is Bronstein's move, but I think that it's actually problematic after a6. White has some issues. That's Nefedov's move. It's not particularly... It's not probably as good as e5 or other moves. But knight c3, I had to face recently. But anyway, here, so queen f4 is like a sideline, and queen a4 is played. I was like, all right, I'll play queen there. But you know, when he played this, I was like, oh, you know what? I saw this before somewhere, and wow, apparently I have to be very, very careful here. I just kind of assumed it should be okay for white, and then two other people actually did what I did and played queen e4. Starostich played queen e3. That's a bit of a safer move, I guess. But if you play queen e3, you figure that at some point your queen's going to get hit by knight g7, knight f5 again. So it turns out that, you know, whereas queen e4 is obviously the main line in the main line position after knight d5, queen e4, and it is a good move. It is the only good move. Oddly enough, here after knight h5, the computer says the queen d2. Now this is just with a short analysis. The computer says queen d2 is best, and that's a problem that we learned something here. Like queen f4 is not even okay. It's like equal for black immediately after knight h5. Wow. Very instructive, Acerbate. Good job, man. I mean, not good job later, but here's a good question. After queen e4, you see, both players playing d5. d5 is good. I mean, that's what I would have expected. I would consider taking, but this is fine for black. Queen h4. Queen a4, queen h4. Queen h4 recommended by the computer. Do not play this queen f4 I did. So he played bishop g7, and I thought it's a mistake, and I'm very naive. Well, it is a small mistake, probably, but not a big mistake for black. I should develop my pieces here, but instead I was a sucker, and I played g4. Because I could see that after d5, he's getting like maximum 2 pawns for a piece, you know. This might be interesting, you know. Saul would like this. S4 would like this type of position anyway, but 2 pawns for a piece, unclear. But f5, it's amazing. That just like kills white instantly. It's amazing how strong this is. It's just it's like annihilating white like immediately. That's insane, you know. You'd think like I could at least get away with like a pawn down or something. So I'm toast here. He plays d5, best move. I played queen a4. And now this is interesting where the computer says he just castles. That's ultra dynamic. I like bishop takes f5. Yeah, so making the best of a bad situation. I just got completely lucky here. You know, someone said I didn't develop with knight d4, but I wanted his white scored bishop. I guess it's too late, though. I mean, I'm not trying to win a pawn. I tell you honestly, I'm not trying to win a pawn here with knight d4. You know, castles, knight takes c6. I was going to take his bishop, but I'm lost. My development is lost. This position is lost. But it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I do here. I'm lost. It's like minus 0.25, 2.5. This is my hope was something like knight d7, or sorry, bishop d7, e6, and maybe I could trade pieces and like give him a pawn. And even this is horrible, though. You know, look at my position. I have no development at all. Pawn takes, queen takes. Just if I could somehow castle queenside, but I'm too slow. Just lost. So, all right, good game. Queen a5, terrible mistake though. All right, JCS. I'm going to take the guys who are subscribers. We have tons of challenges today, guys. What's up with Monday? Tomorrow is 7+2 Rapid, hosting a 7+2 Rapid tournament here, guys. All right, we're playing JCS. We're white again. I think it's one of those days when people troll me and make me play white every single game, but that's fine. You want to make me play white every single game? That's fine. It's cool. Knight f3. Man, Acerbate f5, dude. That was great. You were just killing me. Nice job. But queen a5 check. You know, when the other guy's behind in development, it's important to keep that in mind. If the other player's behind in development, you do not want to trade queens. You want to keep queens on, play for the kill. This is really important. I mean, if you were up a piece or something, then fine. You know, but if you're not up material, but you have an initiative, like a development advantage, then it's very important that you don't trade queens. I have a book here. It's called From the Middle Game into the End Game. This is Edmar's Madness. You guys see that? Edmar Madness. In that book, he actually talks a lot about this kind of situation where you're basically trading queens or not trading queens when you're deciding whether to go into an endgame or not, you know. And I think it was just a concrete, like, perfect example of a situation where you don't want to trade queens because the other guy is. You wonder why the stronger players are impressed by f5. It doesn't seem natural to kick the queen. Doesn't it seem natural? Yeah, I mean, there's something optical about it. I don't know. I've never seen that exactly. Didn't answer the question. Yeah, this is really important stuff. Who's the cutest GM? Anna Ushanina. Okay. My friend, my buddy. All right, c4, c6. Mr. Coffee, what's up? Former women's world champion. She's much cuter than Feingold. I'm sorry, you know, I'm just gonna have to say that. All right. Just look for all the women's world champions in the history of chess, I guess. Castles, queen b3. I'm just, you know, you can ask Bob on Tinder. I just, you know, I'm not that into physical looks. It just doesn't do it for me. That's not my priority. Queen b3. Okay, this variation I played a couple games with just here, messing around. As I stated earlier in other streams, I'm so sick of these like mainline Fianchetto Grunfeld type of positions. It's just awful. I like playing Queen B3. I'm not gonna make one way or the other. I'm on the fence about Feingold. Okay, knight e4 now. Speaking of not developing your pieces, that move kind of comes to mind. It is a sort of standard move though in these structures, I will say. Gonna challenge Mr. Knight. The ones in their 30s. What are you talking about? All right. Anyway, back to serious chess discussion here. So we traded off JCS's knight on e4. Queen takes c4. Yeah, you just make sure you got the context. The context is correct when you're explaining that comment, that quote by me. Bishop e6, Queen a4, Queen d3, Queen c5, Queen c5. Anyone? No. Queen b4. That looks strange. Again, no. I like the center. Guys are distracting me. Guys, I'm taking the subscriber challenges first. We've got a 2.5 hour stream. Got a ridiculous amount of subscribers. Actually, Bob is up next. Then S4. Morales, Testosterone. Mule Skinner is not a subscriber. I don't think Mule Skinner is a subscriber. Are you, Mule Skinner? Mule Skinner in the house? My friends from Spain. B5. Logical, to come down with Bishop c4. You skinned any mules lately? Why take the knight with the pawn and not the queen? It strengthens my center, and my queen is also prone to pressure from the bishop on g7. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Let's get our pieces out. There's this bishop c4 thing. Okay, we're drifting on time. b5 may be a good move. It's kind of double-edged because I have things like knight g5. I mean, he may be sorry about that, We're going to try to make him sorry, but I mean, I would say that knight g5 fits the category of kind of artificial one-dimensional moves. Come to think of it now. You can't get over f5, d5. That was a very strong move. I mean, what's interesting about f5, though, okay, it's absolutely forced, first of all. This is kind of a tough call. Maybe I should have put my queen on c2. I'm not sure. But I've come to realize, I mean, JCS seems to study his openings pretty well. It's not a pushover. I don't have a good plan here. Bishop a3, rook e8, no problem. I just don't really have a good plan at all. All right, it seems like I'm wasting enormous amounts of time here. Again with the queen. Bishop a3, he just like makes a useful move, and my bishop is actually pretty strangely placed out there. I mean, I guess I'm concerned about a5, b4. Queen f4. Yeah, this was a not well thought out move. Kind of like Queen f4 in the last game. Why do I have this obsession with playing Queen f4? This is my second bad Queen f4 today. There's a funny thing I noticed about Stockfish, that it really, really, the computer engine, it really, really likes putting its queens on c5, c4, f4, and f5. And to the point where it's inventing novelties when I analyze certain openings with these squares. But I think I'm trying to copy it, putting my queen on f4. The queen has to be very secure, if you're putting it on one of those squares. You have to have pretty good control of the center. And, if it's this early in the opening, I probably shouldn't be moving my queen again. It was a bit more natural to play queen c2 when he played bishop c4. In a sense, because it doesn't block my bishop on c1. It has a good diagonal where it's at, and when I play queen e3, I'm blocking my bishop. But queen f4 is almost undoubtedly a bad move. I mean, he could trade pieces like bishop e2. That doesn't concern me, Okay, I thought, okay, queen f4 stops e5. I have some maneuvers. The center game, what was I thinking? Yeah, okay, good example, the center game, like e4, e5, d4, pawn takes pawn, queen takes, and now knight c6, and Stockfish wants to play queen c4, which is like almost unheard of. That's interesting. But I think that human beings have a bias, because we've learned chess mostly from books and things like that. We're biased against certain ideas that the computer doesn't care about, obviously. One thing that I was talking to someone about recently was like the black side of the King's Indian. If black plays classical black side of the King's Indian, in the 50s they always played knight on bd7, but modern King's Indian players learned that they can put their knight on a6 on the side of the board. That move wasn't really invented until around like 1989 or 88, because people had this bias toward like putting knights on a6. But the knight will come toward the center from a6. You believe we're all just going to learn to play like engines soon? Well, I mean, I think that I'm trying to incorporate or learn something from it, to some degree. Wow, e5. Okay, I don't want to destroy my pawn structure, but I'm afraid I might have to now that I think about it. Man, e5 is a supremely strong move. Or is it? No, we're going to take here. I didn't calculate enough. I'm short of time. He's doing some sort of intuitive thing here. Bishop e3. It was a risky plan. I really thought like the simplest was to just play h6. Does that make sense though? I mean, I can go queen h4 there. I guess I could sacrifice a piece or something crazy, If he plays h6, queen h4, maybe that's not so simple. So, complicated stuff here. Remain calm. Try to remain calm. I mean, should I take on b6, let him take on a4, recapture? I don't like that. The more I look at it, the less I like it. But this is a really precarious position, and I don't know who's better. He sacrificed a pawn temporarily, but it looks like kind of valid. My pawn structure is hard to maintain. Now this... Probably I should protect that pawn on c3 and give him the one on a2. I'm literally like second guessing everything I do. But this pawn may have been too important here. It's so hard when you don't have enough time. But something like rook c1 and just give up the a pawn might be the slightly better solution. You like the look of g takes f4? Well, I like the look of it too, but I don't like the look of what he's getting on the queen side, which was like pressure on my a pawn and a takes b, maybe just scooping pawns. I like the look of g. I agree with you. I like g takes f4 in that line, but I didn't like. I finally rejected it because he was getting counterplay. Now, that's bringing my queen kind of close to your king there. He's also... I was concerned about queen takes c3. Wow. And this move is obviously reasonable, but I have time to save my pawn. And we get this, well, abstract position. But I think it was much stronger for him to take the pawn immediately. This is obviously not bad. Man, I have no idea what to do now. Am I better here? Am I worse? Damn, dude played g5 on me. Wow. That's a great move by black. We have extra, time every move, so I don't have to play that fast. 3 seconds is good. Trying to force through f4. But I don't know if this is the right idea. Anytime I'm taking on e6, he's like taking back with the f pawn. It's a really good move. A good game by black. He was better before. Now it's getting kind of messy. His king side may be fairly weak. I mean, weaker than mine in some sense. But maybe not. Lost on time here, but I mean, I didn't even know that white is much better. Apparently I'm better now. I would have played queen h5, but I guess there's some problem with that. But it still looks like the best move. It's far from clear. Computer really likes white. But before, he was probably better. I mean, why didn't he just take on c3? Wow, the computer thinks I'm okay here. I don't know. I mean, queen takes c3 is just taking a pawn. He's got the threat of bishop there. Yeah, now it comes around. It agrees with me that this is the best move. Okay, I'm not down a pawn, but my pawn structure is pretty shredded. I wasn't at all clear on this. I think my worst move, though, was queen f4. Like, let's just see from bishop c4, okay? First off, I should have probably put my queen on c2, which I talked about. Secondly, when I go here, he plays this as a strong move, and then I played, what? Queen f4. Okay, this is moving the same piece twice again. Bishop a3 I wasn't convinced by, but knight d2, I don't know why I rejected this. Because it didn't have like a follow-up, I mean, I figured knight d2, bishop e6, and I didn't see like what my continuation was. But still, it's better. Get him out of there. Get him out of c4 where it's like bothering my position and stuff. This would have been best. This was a kind of Grunfeld. Yeah. You guys are just taking it easy on me today. So S4 is up next. If you guys are subscribers and I don't know about it, let me know. Okay, everyone's trolling me, giving me white every game. That's fine. S4 last time we had it. We had some Englishes. Yeah, he's playing G6. All right. So I'm just going to go back into like some kind of King's Indian or whatever. Yeah, good game, JCS. What about... I thought you had something really strong at one point. No, I wasn't happy with the way I played that. A lot of hesitation by me. Okay, this is 6-3, not 7-3. And that always trips me up when we start playing different time controls. He's quite strong, S4. He has almost 50% against me. This is like a recommended variation by Black. I think it's important that Black is committed too early to castling kingside. Black also hasn't played c5. I actually, did this against Boris Gulko with Black, one of my first games. Well, one of my early games facing this system. One of my only games facing this system, actually. Bishop d7. That's a weird move. He's just totally leaving known territory with bishop d7. Just a kind of extraneous, random move. You bet 50 bet. No betting bits now. It's going to turn into a betting room. All right. We'll get in trouble for gambling with bits. Bishop d7 here. Well, I mean, it's just a move. It's not like that bad or that good. I don't know. There's probably nothing special I can do to exploit that. Just continue to play normal moves would be the best advice. The question about placing it on d7 so early is like kind of weird. I could take on c5 here. I wonder what happens then. He just takes back, has a good structure, strengthens his bishop. I'm just going to play this how I would typically play in a blitz game. Is there a really big difference in theory between being 1200 and over 2000? Yeah, I mean, I think it's a massive difference in overall understanding, like massive. It's totally a world apart. Although, if you're not an expert, you might see games between a 1300 and a 2000 player, and I'm not sure if he's asking about opening theory exactly, Bob. F5 is my next move. He's playing F5. Well, F5 is a typical idea, man. I have a crazy variation here, no? Like knight takes g5, knight takes g3, bishop h5 check, king f8, knight f7. There's got to be a tactic for white. Knight takes g5, knight takes g3. Bishop h5 check. He can't take with the knight because I'll mate him. So he has to play king f8, and then I have knight f7 attacking his queen. And we're going to recapture. I mean, that knight's still hanging on g3. But my knight is going to end up all stranded on f7 and stuff to recapture. There's also knight e5. Knight takes g3, bishop h5 check, king f8, knight g6 check, king g8, but it's still completely inconclusive. I don't know, man. I don't see it. There's nothing conclusive, you know? I think he was just asking how big a difference is there really between 1,300 and 2,000 players. That was how I interpreted? That's how I interpreted the question. This is like a transposition to a known line now, except he played bishop d7, which is just a move. I'm not sure if I should play like rook c1 there. This is probably a good move. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching and subscribing. Thanks for the bit donations. We had great donations yesterday during our simul stream. You can't see it now in the top 3, but they've been reset for the week. Do you guys see what I see, like the top 3 bit donations for the week? Oh, he's attacking me again. Alright, I don't think that knight b4 does anything. So I'll just, you know, ignore that. He just, like, goes there anyway. Alright. S4, I'm wondering, like, how much of your game is intuition and how much is just, like, calculation? Yeah, I just see the 3 weekly donations. I'm just wondering if everyone's Twitch, you know, is laid out the same, that you see the same things I do. Someone was saying maybe I could change the settings so that I could show, like, you know, the biggest yearly or monthly donations. Please donate, support the stream. You can donate bits or on PayPal. Guys, yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, 2,000 is really, really strong. Whereas 1,300 is a relative newcomer. To, you know, not a newcomer, but I mean, they don't know much sophisticated chess theory. And I mean theory by, like, principles, not, like, openings. Kick him back. Yield rook h5. Ooh. That's awkward. I mean, you know, that rook on f6 is kind of awkward. Then again, rooks on h5 are awkward too. Rook g6. So he's got a little bit of coordination after all. Don't even do knight b4 again. I'll scream. I could probably sack the exchange there with, like, AB. AB. You have to be very careful because S4 is a dangerous dude. Extremely aggressive, and wow, he played e6 here. Okay, it's a natural break. No, but isn't he dropping something? A materialist at heart. I gotta take this. Gotta have it. Pawn amoeba. The pawn amoeba is fairly solid. Varusian plays this line. He played it against me in Spain, like, way back in, like, 1999 or 2000. 1999. Jacobian versus me. Except he was white and I was black. I think I drew, but he was really, really young. Then, well, I guess that was about the time when I started playing this line for white. Okay. I did some lectures on chesslecture.com years ago on the Smyslov system with the white pieces. It's a very useful line. I mean, it's not as critically good as playing the classical King's Indian, but it's like simpler, easier to play, lower risk for white. Dogs of War will run free now because the white squares are empty. He's got a lot of white square weaknesses all around. My Dogs of War will come into e4 and d5, and the thing is, in the King's Indian, a lot of times, like here, it looks pretty good, but if we're talking about this piece, it's a little overloaded, like it's protecting h6. You can never take anything over there without dropping your king side. So he was, he was playing on intuition, but his queen also might be out of play. Rook e8, tactics. I like this. We're very, very close to nasty tactics here. Pawn takes. I mean, that looks pretty darn strong. Even just pawn takes. He's basically down a queen. Either rook can come to the f-file. Wubba lubba dub chess. Cry havoc. And let's slip the Dogs of War. What is that from? He's on my B pawn. Uh-oh. Okay. It's Shakespeare. Okay, of course. But I don't know what. Oh my god. If you notice sometimes the knights, I had a friend who used to joke about this, but in certain chess sets, the knights actually look more like dogs than they can look more like dogs than knights. All right. It's basically a nasty tactic. All right, man. You got to stop. You got to leave me alone here. You've got to leave me alone. Okay, have it. I don't care. Take a pawn. Take two. I'm going to just checkmate you. It's a rhyme. It's like a rap song. Have a pawn. Take two. All right, I'm just going to checkmate you. Rook check. Uh-oh. That's not good. He's finding these moves awful fast. Rook there. More nasty threats. Man, I don't know if I'm even winning anymore. Pretty bummed about this. The Dogs of War are lurking, but we're only up a pawn here. Just found another defense. I'm just like panicking. Anything could happen now. This is crazy. Crazy what I did. Man. It's insanely strong. Yeah. Is that like terminal? Wow, his technique is unbelievable. Let me queen now? What? What just happened here? Oh my god. I just lost. Alright, a hallucination. Okay, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't see how to win and I panicked. Now he's got an even score. Nice job. I didn't see how to win and I just freaked out. I don't want to draw at that point. I mean, at that point I'm like winning. But I couldn't find it. I couldn't find a win here. Rook d8 check and it's finished. Well, I mean, if you've got a computer, that's easy to say. Rook takes bishop and it's finished. No, I don't think it's so easy. I mean, okay, yeah, maybe, but I have to blockade back on c1. This could be kind of awkward. I mean, I don't think it's that simple, you know. But he just was totally winning anyway. I mean, it doesn't matter. I was lost. I was lost anyway here. I mean, I don't know why he let me queen with check. You know, this is sort of silly anyway. He just has bishop g5. He's just totally winning. The end of the game, he played like a genius. I mean, the second half of this game was absolutely insane. Well played by black. This is just too complicated to play with 30 seconds for each side. I assume that black's better because he has 3 connected pass pawns. Just too hard to play with a limited amount of time to play it correctly. I have no idea. The computer says I'm okay, but before I was winning. Nice game. All right. What an amazing save, though, you know. He's a great player. Even score after 19 games or something against me. So, wubba dubba lub lub. These guys are not subscribers, right? We got just Morales is up next. I have a crazy amount of challenges. Knight fork. It was a sloppy game, but that's how it usually is with him. All my games are really insane. I don't know. I was like totally winning, and then I couldn't find it. E4. Okay, I don't feel like playing the Grand Prix attack today. Let's play something classical. The bishop's opening transposes to the Joko piano a lot. Well, I'm streaming, you know. It's not just I'm psyched out. I mean, I think that he's just a good player. But it's hard to concentrate and stream. I could play a little bit better if I wasn't streaming. Okay, this transposes to, like, what? Yeah, this is the Rorisov Gambit, I think it's called. But we can also go back into standard stuff. This is actually Soltigo's. I guess Soltigo's not in the stream right now. This is like his favorite gambit opening. Our moderator, Soltigo, he loves this. Urisov gambit. My rook d8 was kind of hard to see. Well, I guess I saw rook d8, but I just didn't see what it does ultimately. So c6. This is the best gambit ever. Your favorite opening, Soltigo. Wow, Morales has memorized this. Oh man, I don't think we ever had one of these. Okay, I have a bad feeling about this. I don't know what I'm doing. That's usually a bad thing. If I castle kingside, I come under a pretty strong attack. I'm not sure if I really have an option, though. My preference would be going back here. Not to play knight takes e4. Like, if this was a tournament game, I'll just cop out and play knight c6 here. But I thought, okay, we'll take up the gauntlet. We're going to take up the gauntlet here. This is apparently a main line. I don't know it. I do have a book here. This is called The Petrov Defense. This is an old book, and it's actually a ripoff. This is like, it says that Farintosh and Irvin Haag wrote this, but it's actually stolen by them. It was all based on analysis by a guy by the name of Tot, International Master Tot Bela. And when he was away in Italy, I guess they like stole his analysis and published it or something. Because I don't think like Farintosh even plays the Petrov defense. Played, like he's deceased. I heard the story relatively recently. But in that book, there's actually, I can take the book out and check the theory. We can check the theory. Man, knight d4 is on its way. Is that what you're telling me? And I got crazy ideas here. Well, I basically didn't know that Morales even played this line. I mean, is this something new? Because if I had known, I might not have played it. And White's pieces are crazy aggressive here. I would prefer not to castle into an attack directly. So, I mean, the safer version is, of course, you could look it up. I feel like I'm cheating if I peek at my pirated Farintosh book. Bishop d3. Knight c5. Or should I just focus on castling queenside somehow? I mean, my king isn't going to be safe castling queenside either. That's the real problem here. The truth of the position is that my king isn't going to be safe on the queenside either. If I try to castle queenside, so this diagonal here is very risky. I'm scared. I'm going to lose on time. Exciting game there, last game. Marred by time pressure. Morales just going off on me. What's his rating now? He's 2,000. Was he that high before? He's got very few rapid games. But he has beaten me in the past. Man, this is like very scary for black. Can I play 94? That's really bailing out to try to draw. I think it's worthy of consideration. I mean, if I'm in danger here, it's seriously. If I'm in serious danger here, I mean, castling like loses, it gets mated. Not exactly, but it's super scary. H6. Knight G4. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm really freaked out. I'm just hoping to equalize here. So this is what Soltico says. He says all black can do is hope to draw at this point. That's his exact quote. Our moderator, he's an expert on this variation. He says all black can do is hope to draw at this point. Well, let's say hope to equalize. Maybe white can mess up an equal endgame or something. I'm basically taking a safety first approach here, and giving the pawn back to try to equalize or hold on. But I'm not sure if I even have that good a position, huh? Now I take with the pawn. Try to grovel for a draw here. Correct? Problem is I could be in serious trouble now. I was thinking I was okay, but I'm not so sure anymore. It's a very, very dangerous position for black. So knight f5 check king f8, and I think I might be okay there. This is obviously not really where you want to be when you're black against a lower rated opponent. This is a very, very bad position. I mean, I'm just hanging on by a thread. Yeah. So it makes you want to play this opening, doesn't it? See, the other problem, though, is like the other line is like ultra boring. Like if I play knight c6 here and they do that, this line with like e5, d5, it's like all the pieces get traded. It's extremely well known. The rook ending is just slightly better for white, maybe drawable. But he's looking for more, you know. Rook e1, obviously, is the best. This is okay. I mean, white's better here. Somehow I thought it's more accurate to play like rook e1 first, and then decide what to do. But maybe I'm close to the edge of the precipice here as well. But f4 might be too slow. I was more concerned about piece play. But f4, I don't know. Maybe f4 is not so bad. Well, I've got a good king for the endgame. What can I say? We're getting our butt kicked the last two games. The unbeatable Urasov Gambit. Well, now I know where this is coming from. Yeah, I didn't think anybody took that much time to analyze this opening for white. They probably taught every little scholastic player in the world to play it. Somewhat limiting. Um, I wouldn't say it leads to rich strategic play, you know, but okay. Yeah, we're in pressure. I'm facing incredible pressure here against this with f5. So I'm just hanging on. Although king f6, king f7 is actually, king f7 is safer, huh? Which is better, like king f6, king f7? I wouldn't want to have this position against a grandmaster. I'll tell you right now. Or a computer. A human under 2100 is okay, but anyone above 2100 and a computer, forget about it. I'm sorry I allowed this opening. I won't do it again. I thought maybe we could find something, but it's just too hard, man. Morales is very well prepared. He also has the Grand Prix attack against the Sicilian, a kind of all, you know, all what was the word I'm looking for? All-inclusive system against the Sicilian. So it's hard to get away from his stuff, you know. It's like Nefedov, one of our other regulars. Repertoire players, I have to play something like totally obscure to get away from them. I will say one thing though with Morales. I mean, he's using a lot of time here. A4 is not a bad move. He's just trying to be solid at this point. Maybe G6. Well, I'm gonna offer a draw. I don't know if he wants to play for more, but a draw is okay with me because I'm worse here. Thank you for the game. You're much better before. The computer still thinks you're better. Well, you're not worse, that's for sure. Maybe rook d5 wasn't great, but I want to see the opening, everybody. Like, where did we leave book? So, this is supposed to be correct. 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 Now let's check the Farintosh book, because this is old, man. I mean, this is really old. It's in here. See? What? Guys can see this? Here. Wait. Where's the webcam? Urusov Gambit. That's right. So, it's right here. Actually, Hog, I shouldn't credit them because they didn't really write the book. It's I should cross it out. It's Tot Bela. But anyway, they stole his analysis. So knight takes. Where are we? Where are we here? Urusov Gambit. Okay. Queen takes d4. Knight f6. Bishop g5. Bishop e7. B2, c6. Okay, b2. c6, queenside castles, d5. Rook on h to e1. Bishop e6. This is the main line in the book. And now bishop d3. They say, or queen h4 transposes. The games from this position go back to 1904. There is Schlechter against Teichmann from Vienna 1904. Just so you know. It's not a new idea. This was being played 100 and like 15 years ago, this position. Okay, bishop e6, bishop d3 is the main line, according to them. But you play queen h4. This is the modern main line. Knight on bd7. And now, bishop d3, knight c5. That's best, it says. So it's like, if I don't castle, which is another line, this is the main line. Bishop c5, knight d4. Yeah. Yeah, and now they give knight g8 exclamation point. What's up, Juicebox Wizard? Thanks for being the chip leader. The donation leader. Guys, Soltigo, what do you know about this? Knight g8 is the main line. So I bailed out here with this lame knight e4 novelty, which just leaves me in a bad endgame. So, Toth Bela says knight g8. This doesn't look so convincing, though. The engine thinks white's better here. But knight fd7 might be interesting. That actually is given a question mark. This is given a question mark by those guys in this old book. Knight fd7 question mark. Bishop takes e7. Queen takes e7. This is analysis by like Polugievsky. And white's better. I mean, that's no better than what I did, basically. I don't think that's any better than what I did, to be honest with you. h6. So I went here. Is this just like a blunder? I mean, this was just intuition. But anyway, I have a good sense of danger, you know. Queen takes e7, queen takes e7, king takes e7. This has never been played. Anyway, so much for the book. Basically, knight takes e4. The computer there is suggesting bishop takes e4. Might be a better option. Yeah, I'm not really happy about the situation. So we both had one inaccuracy. I don't know. But there was one other move that I could play that I noticed here. But it looks like knight g8 is really the best move. Simon Webb. Correspondence. Queen d7. Can we try to run away to the queen side? Man, this is like... There's even a game from 2017. Is that an over-the-board game, do you think? Man, f4, and it's like terrible. That's a Hungarian player I recognize. Man, f4. Terrible for black. Okay, guys, let's move on. Interesting theoretical battle there. More questions than answers. I'm going to take the subscribers that are challenging me. Play as many games as I can today, guys. But I thought I'd take a moment to just to analyze that, you know, theoretically, what's happening there. Testosterone. You can't modify the table base or opening explorer anyway. That's a good idea for a feature. Zinky, good night. A good idea for a feature presentation. Let's play another passive opening. The Gurgenidze Karo-Kan. Have to leave, and welcome for the analysis, guys. Thanks, Juicebox Wizard, for all your donations. Antonio, thanks for the game. Okay, so e5, h5. God, only once I considered playing this opening seriously. And like immediately I think I had a really tough game against a low-rated player, but My old friend Alexander Ivanov is just like, you can't even count how many people he's taken out with this opening. It's just endless. But it's not easy to play, you know. It's just not easy to play. You're talk about a dark, deep forest. You're intentionally taking on a spatial disadvantage with black. It's just not easy. The last time I played the white side of a Gurganese Karakan was like against Bade Abela, and I lost. Fried chicken. So here, bishop f5, I would assume. Testosterone. I have no idea what the main line is there for white. I have limited theoretical knowledge. I don't play this opening normally. But I do play the Caro-Kann, and I have attempted to play this opening in the past, but I think it would be best to know more theory. I'm kind of experimenting today. Usually Wednesdays are the weird Wednesday stream where I play unusual openings, but I just felt like messing around, playing some different stuff today. Okay. I'm following you. Not, gonna let you not let me trade pieces. That's a double negative. Now, interesting. One thing we have to be careful of is e6 happening, the happening of e6. But I don't think it's an immediate threat. But we'll just make sure it doesn't happen anyway. So, as long as I can trade my bishop for something, that's probably a good thing. You have to be a good defender and comfortable playing with less space if you play this opening. But Alexander Ivanov uses it as a winning weapon. I mean, you've got to be a little bit masochistic, seriously, to want to do this to yourself. But it's fun. Fun for, those who like to torture themselves and play with no space. It's a great opening. I don't have any bad pieces, so like in the normal French or something, your bishop would be like trapped on c8. I don't have to worry about that getting out. What happens if white doesn't play f4? Well, that's actually one of the main lines. If white doesn't play f4 in this line, well, once he plays e5, I think he's like more or less committed. I guess it's possible, though, to play even without f4, to play e5 without f4. I prefer to play, like, just without e5, so I would just play something like h3, bishop g7, knight f3. That's a kind of main line as well. Yeah, now I must take and then decide the proverbial question. Is g4 a threat? And if g4 is a threat, then I need to stop it, which means I have to play h4, lock it down. I mean, I imagine there could be other moves. I've played a million games in the English opening, and structure is similar to this. Monkey strategy. You're welcome. I hope it helps, all you guys. What happens if white doesn't play f4? Yeah, we discussed that. You have to go to class training. All right, Acerbate, have a great night, and see you tomorrow. Guys, tomorrow will be I'll host a rapid tournament here on lichess. 7+2 casual rapid, just for fun, and that's at 4 p.m. For now, I retain the right to change stream times, but for the next week or two, we're going to keep it at, actually, we made for a long time, keep it at 4 p.m. EDT, Eastern Daylight Time. So h4, it's, again, very hard to play for a win, but it's a tough system. Black's pawn structure is very good, but he has not enough space, basically. I need to try to play c5 at some point, and then my king walks over here. This is one idea. I would oftentimes artificially castle with the king here. He's playing some a4. I mean, if I could play c5, I wonder what happens. Am I taking my life in my hands there? Well, let's try it. Double-edged decision. Structurally good for me, but on the dynamic side, I might be opening up his bishops, giving him possible sacrifices and stuff on like d5. So I think this break is a normal Caro-Kann break. I'm just a little concerned that, you know, allow him to open the position maybe, and his bishops could become dangerous. I just don't want to remain completely passive, because that's never good. Well, he's going 92, so he's ready to support his center with like c3. Okay, I'm just going to trade pieces here. Kind of cowardly looking plan, but at the same time, you know, it's basically thinking about maybe endgame situations where his bishop isn't that good. Okay, b4 is a kind of crazy move. I was really concerned about something else that didn't happen. This looks like I'm just hoovering the board, but it's also in my best interest to be on the safe side. If I could only get my knight to a powerful square, you know, back to b8 into c6. My knight is a problem, though. I would consider taking with the pawn here. I'm a little worried about, though, the c4 break, so I can't really do that. I have to stop c4. c4 was the idea that I was concerned about most before. Some endgames I could be better. Buffalo chicken. You guys are making me hungry. Stop that. Trivia night. That's why you know so much, Bob. That's awesome. Actually, really big in the UK. The pub with the trivia night. It's a totally UK thing. Alright, rook c8. Yeah, I mean, I feel like white has kind of let me off the hook here. You know, b4 may have been a serious mistake. I was concerned about something like c4. Either right away or maybe taking on c5 and then c4, because he can't do that. If he takes on c5, my knight literally covers b7. But I didn't like b4. Rook a2. Am I winning a pawn here? Hard to argue with this move. Just trying to win a pawn. I guess I could take with the a pawn, but then I thought he had a5 even stronger than it is here. So, man, Mr. Knight could come into the game. Mr. Knight enters the game. We're happy. Mr. Knight can go to like e7 and f5. That would be a dream come true. I was commenting on this knight earlier. It was very bad on d7. It's a typical Caro-Kann thing. So, the dream of that happening is pretty big. Taking this one, because I don't want to see. What don't I want to see? Well, I don't know. I'm just winning a pawn. We got to play it by ear here. C4. Okay. C4 makes sense. My knight gets a little bit back in the game. But it's still not an easy position to win. Testosterone. Fixing his own pawn on the white squares there. But it's still a dangerous pawn. Probably the color doesn't matter that much. Maybe I... Could I have taken there? That looked very dangerous. That pawn is very dangerous. I'm getting a little bit worried. Can I still castle? Okay, I don't want to castle, but I will if I have to. You know, endgame, we want the king in the center. It's very important. Yes, yes. My knight covers the c7 square entry points. Yeah, that's probably a mistake right there. Rook c1. Famous last words. In case he takes my knight out, my king will also help to stop that nastiness. Did you just miss rook takes d5 check? Flash tactic? Flashtactics.com. Rook takes d5 check, pawn takes, bishop g4 check. That could be game over. So I'm very, very fortunate. And I have plenty of time. There's no excuse. No excuse to allow tactics like that. That's disgraceful. Winning, forced win. A winning forced win for white with rook takes d5 check. Check it out. Man, handing it to him on a platter. Just a check. Just over.
No.
No, I don't like that one.
No!
No, that was bad. Like, rook takes d5 check, walking right into it. You know, and you see it, like, as soon as you did it. Oh, my God. That's why, intuitively, I didn't want to put my king on d7. I wanted on a dark square. But here I thought he can play, like, bishop f3. You know what I forgot, though? That my rook can come to d8 and then cover the check with rook d7. This would have been the way to play. Without putting my pawn on a... My king, yeah. On a white square. If you have a knight against bishop, it's an endgame. You can always feel more secure if your king is on the same color as the opposite color of his bishop. All right. Are you American? Man. Testosterone. I don't know. I assumed Testosterone was from... He's from Canada, apparently. So it's the same thing, right? Nope. All right, let's go. No. I allowed another terrible blunder. Okay, we've got too many challenges, guys. I'm not going to be able to play all these challenges. So we've got 45 minutes left. I'm sorry, but I've got to play the subscriber, guys. Mule Skinner, if he's not a subscriber, we're going to get him anyway. He was always a subscriber. Wow, I've never seen a list this long. Bob's up. Nefudov. So all I can do is try to play my remaining subscribers. Mule Skinner, Juicebox, Bob. Alright. Mule Skinner plays the Grand Prix attack. I was talking about Morales before, like getting him confused with Mule Skinner. I always do that, and I say like, oh, Morales plays the Grand Prix attack. He might play it too, but he's not an expert the way Mule Skinner is. You saw him use the idiom, ah, shit, and shit. Oh, it's very American. Definitely. I mean, I assume Canadians say that too. They're like, a shit. C4, knight f6. Bad joke. So. I didn't know that was an idiom, but I guess you're right. Bob, go answer some trivia. Are you hanging out for a game? Bob's on the list. I'm gonna take my subscribers. So Juicebox Wizard, Bob, and Nefudov would probably close it out for today at this rate, because we've got long games today. Fridays I play faster. Wow, Mule Skinner played this before. Okay, so this is our rematch. I wouldn't call this a variation, but I guess it's good enough for equality. Trivia's later. When I was in Hastings playing in the Hastings Chess Congress many times, yeah, that's a very typical pub activity. But we actually did that in Spain. I went to an Irish pub in Spain. That's the other place where I played pub trivia. It's always it's always like an English pub atmosphere. Bishop takes c6, b takes c6. I used to hang out at Irish pubs in Madrid, and I think that's kind of weird in a way. But, you know, the expat culture. Play blitz with Leonid Bass and do trivia. That's been a long time ago. A date night thing. So you're onto the you're going on a Tinder trivia night. Rook e1. Bishop's outside the pawn chain. I think I had a crazy game long ago where I actually tried to get in c5. Sort of crazy dynamic. c5, d takes c5, knight takes c3, queen takes d8, rook takes d8, b takes c3, bishop takes c3, winning the exchange. I mean, is this possible? Or is this just bad because of bishop g5 or something? I mean, c5 looks a little over the top. It might just be asking too much. This is a super safe move. Good to have a well-rounded team. You were probably in debate club in high school. Bishop g4. Obviously different. I know what I'm talking about. Alright. My high school was pretty small. So we had no teams. No good teams, anyway. Even my baseball team sucked. Bishop to g4. So, I don't know. I don't really like giving up my bishop pair. It seems like my asset in this position. But it's a safe move. I'm rarely getting, tactical positions. It's nice to be black, though. I had white, the first 3 or 4 games, and then black. Now we're in the black mode. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching and subscribing to my stream. International Master William Paschall will be back with hosting a rapid tournament tomorrow night. Now, this is hesitant. You know, now c5, he can actually probably grab it, right? With, d takes c. Or knight takes d5. Queen takes and takes. But I think bishop e3 is a really, really, hesitant, kind of, weird move. I mean, to me, bishop g5 looked very logical. Just threatening e7 directly. That was the only move I was really concerned about. If I have to play, I have to play rook e8 there. I don't know. I guess I could play f6. So now I can take on c3 and play queen d5, like a blockade style plan. Nefudov is up late. Uh-oh. Okay, this is pretty standard for a Panov. We're freezing his hanging pawns, keeping an eye on a2. Also, we've got the double pawn thing threatened on f3 maybe. White has the b file. you can see this kind of structure in a lot of different openings, like the Petrov defense, for example. He's really feeling the loss of his white square bishop right about now, though. I mean, look at the whole position, how much he would really benefit from having that white square bishop that's been traded on c6. So that's the trade-off. Wow. Excuse me. c4. Queen takes c4, knight e5, bishop takes d1. What's that about? What is this? Okay, I don't get it. I mean, on knight e5, I could even play bishop takes e5. Just be a pawn up. I think he just freaked out. But let's just make sure. Anytime you have this happen, okay, it's the same thing in poker. If you, like, you just think you're going to win a massive pot and you can't understand what the guy's doing, he has four of a kind. Like, he has the, like, absolute, you know, straight flush or royal flush or four of a kind or whatever. You know, it's like, if it looks too good to be true, it's always the nuts, you know. And like, I'm like, wait, why is this pawn hanging, you know? There has to be some sort of trick. You just double, triple check, quadruple check that this guy's not just tricking you, because this is the kind of move that I wouldn't really expect, you know, just a flat out pawn sacrifice that doesn't do anything. All right, I don't get it. You know, I'm just gonna take it. Knight d2, bishop takes d1, knight takes c4, drop a pawn. How do you know it's not bluffing? Well, I'm just going by experience, you know. If it's too good to be true, it's either bluffing or you know, it is bluffing like a very small percentage of the time, but it's not like a medium strength hand, you know. It's either the nuts or a bluff. And here, so Muleskinner, I mean, there's really like two refutations. I can take here on d1, and then after knight takes c4, just move my bishop back to a4 or whatever. Or I can just take on e5, which seems to flat out win a pawn. So you just take your pick. Which is better? Bishop takes d1, knight takes c4, bishop a4. My bishop's a little weird out there, but it protects that. I'm still up a clear pawn. I kind of like the bishop pair. So I'm just saying it's one of those things that feels like you just want to make the decision instantly. It's just like, okay, he's just done a crazy move. That's in poker, that's always the situation. It's like you eliminate one possibility. You're always eliminating that he can't possibly have like four of a kind or, you know, a royal flush, but they do, you know. It's like, be careful not to make that routinely eliminating that possibility here. The Muleskinner doesn't have four of a kind, but he, you know, it's so rare, but it could happen. He just sacked the pawn for nothing, though. Can you understand why he did that? Because I have no clue. Okay, I've got to still be careful. Do we want to argue he has some sort of compensation here? I mean, rook d8. You have to make an argument that he has a tiny bit of compensation remaining in this position. That's really irritating. Not much, though, but something. This may have been a miscalculation by me. I don't want opposite bishops under any circumstances, okay? Nuts is when you're crazy. No, nuts is when you had the best possible hand. Legally possible. In poker. So, it's very rare, you know. Fairly rare, depending on the situation. So, rook on a to c8. Anyway, our bishop is a little bit strange. I don't know why he gave me a pawn. That was a very weird decision. He had so many reasonable moves there. It's just like, Why would white play c4? Bishop g5. Even h3 is not so bad. Queen b3. I guess that drops a pawn as well. I think his real suspect move, though, besides sacking a pawn, is bishop e3. That's inherently passive. I don't think he should do that. From Mr. Schmoog. I always want to know your chip stack in poker. If I was like, yeah, he's not into poker. It's alright, we'll forgive him. But it's like, that's kind of like asking like what is castling in chess or something. Alright, rook b1 here. He's starting to penetrate. I could play bishop b5 as well. But then, yeah, bishop b5 is not a bad move. On the other hand, I want to kick in the knight out with f6 and improve my king to f7 systematically. I'm getting low on time. Flop is not a flop. River is not an actual stream, and nuts. Chips are not edible. Exactly. It's all just made up stuff. Made up words. Man, coming after me with the counterplay. I think Mule Skinner. I think the answer is he just likes sacrificing stuff. He just likes having the initiative. That's the answer. Wow. I mean, back rank ought to be worth something here for black. There you had knight g4. I thought that was kind of a provocative move. Now he's got access to all my pawns. Totally Rubinstein here. Bishop f8. Defending the base of my pawn chain. We've got more pawns than white, which is good. But still very hard to win. But the base of our pawn structure... Rubinstein famous for playing this structure with white, like when he did a game where he did rook f2, bishop f1, and then slowly extracted his pieces. It's the same thing as if I did like rook f7, bishop f8 in this type of position. Of course, I didn't have a rook on f8, so rook f7 wasn't an option, but still, the idea of playing bishop f8, I attribute to Rubinstein. One of the greatest chess players in history. Okay, in case you didn't know, Nefedov. Alright, bishop b3. We are looking good here. He's weakening his white squares. I think trading a set of rooks would be good, but I don't necessarily want to trade both. There's a good strategy book by Josef Dorfman. He talks about tandems of pieces. Obviously, the bishop pair is like the most famous tandem of pieces, but there's also the basic concept that this kind of basic concept that rook and bishop is stronger than rook and knight. So I don't think I really want to trade all the rooks off here, like just one set of rooks, so nothing really nasty can happen to me. But I still keep the rook on the board for a lot of in a lot of endgames. I can have extra winning chances, not trading too many pieces down here. Attacking chances. His king is obviously looking pretty sketchy there. Okay, that move, interesting. JCS is regular. Lots of regulars here. What's up, guys? I'm gonna try to get in the rest of the challenges from subscribers. I'm sorry to anybody who else subscribed. I mean, sorry to guys who challenged that aren't subscribers that couldn't get to play. On Fridays, I'm gonna try to do the stream so that everybody can play in order, not favoring the subscribers. It's really weird that he played g3. Mr. Schmoog is right about that. It was really weird. I agree. It's a very bad move. And again, not really characteristic of Mr. Muleskinner. So I've got to be a little careful to get my king up to f7, but other than that, he's going to have a hard time. I agree, like g3 really weakens his position. And it also doesn't help his bishop any, which is already bad, because he has a lot of pawns on dark squares. He wants the pawns on white squares. It would be better to have like f3, g2, in other words. But anyway, we're seeing a situation where it's still hard for me to make progress here. Even though I'm a clear pawn up in the endgame land. We're having trouble making progress. Psychic network. Rook c5, rook a2. We're trying to get in on the first rank. Alright, he lost on time. It's a very nasty position. Probably 1.5. Yeah, that's what I figured. Rook a1. I was thinking maybe rook c5, though that could be pretty bad. Even if I traded rooks here, I'd probably be in pretty good shape, with good chances to pick off the c5 pawn. That pawn on c5 would become a real target. But I would maybe just play rook a2 there. So, again, guys, I'm going to take the subscribers, and then Juicebox Wizard's up next. I can only stream for like another 40 minutes at the most. Juicebox Wizard, then Bob, and Nefedov. And that's it, guys. We're going to go a little over time, maybe. Very slightly. Good luck, Juicebox Wizard. Thank you for the bits donations in the simul yesterday. Alright, I'm going to play e6. Regulars are exempt from certain spam filters. The advantages of being a subscriber. I'm going to have 2 streams to play all the subscribers that are challenging me today. It's rare that we've got so many subscribers challenging in the same day, though. I mean, today was like a record. We must have like 10. We removed your privilege. I don't know, Bob. Ask Mubot. Okay, bishop d2. Julio Granda Zuniga. This is actually played by some amazingly good players. I think that Capablanca might have played it. I'm sure that Alekhine played it. And it's this move that's like totally non-theoretical. But I have seen some players playing it recently. I actually, what was the move here? e4? That's not, that hangs a pawn. I guess against b6. If b6, e4, bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, knight takes e4, queen g4 was a line that I actually analyzed. This will transpose to some lines. Maybe some lines of the e3 Nimzo. Nefedov, it's fine with me. I mean, I don't mind the stream running a little bit over, you know, for one challenge. We do that all the time, so it's up to you. But I'm going to cancel the other challenges, or not play the other challenges for the non-subscribers for today. Sorry, guys. But I just don't have enough time to play all those challenges. I'm human. Maybe another time. Try back on Friday, or even Wednesday if you get lucky. Bishop e7, and this is like a transposition to an e3 Nimzo, where white just answers with bishop d2 a little bit later. This could, speaking of Rubinstein, this could transpose to a famous game where Rubinstein lost with white against Nimzovich. If I remember my Rubinstein-Nimzovich correctly. There's a game where it was like castles, bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, knight e4, bishop e1. Rubinstein actually put his bishop back on e1. Why not do an additional simul during the week? An additional simul during the week? I mean, everything's possible, you know? I gotta get glasses first. My eyes are hurting me. Alright, a3, bishop takes... So this is probably that game, you know? It's debatable whether white should play a3 or not. I don't think it's a bad move. It does cost some time, though. Requires lots of energy. He does not sleep well after that. Well, it's a little better, honestly, Nefyatov. It's a little better that I'm doing it at 4 rather than 6. True. Like, the simul's at 6 or 7 in the evening did actually cause me to have kind of difficulty falling asleep. I would be like, my mind would be spinning when I finished the simul around 10 or 11 at night, whenever it was, like 10. But 4 p.m. gives me a little more time to kind of settle down, you know. Crazy sacrifice of pawn. I like it when you guys give me stuff. But to be fair to Juicebox Wizard, this is a really common theme in the Bogo Indian and the Nimzo. This idea of sacrificing this pawn is very classic. So let's see if we just get materialistic here. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn. And, you know, you guys know that I'm not a materialist, but we may have a problem here. You know, this guy, I know he made a huge bits donation, but I don't want to give him a free game, you know. That is kind of cool. Like, look at that. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes d5. Bishop takes e4, bishop takes e4, queen d4, game over. Just like winning a piece. Damn, dude. That's not nice. You're just going to win a piece straight up. So, pawn takes pawn, I don't like it if I can't win a pawn. I don't want to do it if I can't win a pawn. We could play pawn takes pawn, knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop takes pawn. But then he has bishop takes h7 check, king takes, queen takes d5. With kind of an unclear situation. So my idea here is to just avoid complications. We're going to play knight takes c3 and then lock. Well, I would probably lock the position with e5. I don't have to play e5. But I'm not trying to win a pawn here. I'm just going to play e5 or perhaps not play e5 and just knight d7 and knight c5. I do have to consider, though, if I don't play e5, he has a very good square for his knight on d4. Doesn't look like a sacrifice. Yeah, looks like it was good for him. So knight d7 is interesting. One of the options available to me here. Knight d4, knight c5, but then he's coming down on my king side. That's actually okay for me. Alright. It's a judgment call. I don't know if it's better to play e5 or not. This looks like a Queen's Indian. I love pawn structure, you know, and a better pawn structure. This, however, may be a mistake. Putting the pawns on white squares, making his bishop more pawn-like in and of itself, starts to look kind of dubious. I'm going to lock now with e5, fix my pawns on dark squares, put my knight on c5, bring this guy back, and you're going to see a strategy like pretty similar to that Gurgenidze Caro-Kann I played in the other game against Testosterone. We're just locking the structure, putting our knight on a good outpost, putting our bishop back on c8, because I just can't generate enough pressure on this pawn on c4. You talk a lot about Nimzovich and attacking doubled pawns, but I think that realistically I know from experience that that pawn, it's just too easy to defend. So we're going to play knight c5, bishop c8, play for f5 probably, and then a break, and actually take the initiative on the king side. This just looks really good for black. Coming back, bring it out here. f5, queen e8, maybe some probation there on that diagonal. It's just, we already are threatening f5, I think, straight up, right now. This is a really, really powerful idea. But that's a classic pawn break. You know, you break against the center with f5. We're a tactical genius. Except I miss stuff. Zinkelberger, thank you for subscribing. Alright, so Juicebox Wizard doesn't want any part in that. He didn't want any part in that business. Now the question is, Bishop c8, what do you want to do? Yeah, let's reposition this guy. We're going to bring everything over migration to the king side, where we have ideas. Today the donations are low. We had a very generous day yesterday, so I don't expect every day to be tons of bits, but I appreciate it when you guys do. Someone said that f4 looked good. It looks good. It's not bad. But my catchphrase is always like keeping the tension. I mean, I really like to keep the tension. f4 is kind of committal. I'm also kind of, it's a little bit of a cheapo. Like, I'm hoping that he, you know, does something bad, like taking on f5. Basically, again, like, standard poker idea, right? Did I miss a strong move last move, actually? No. Standard poker idea in chess, too. But give your opponent more ways to go wrong. I mean, that's what I'm doing, Nefirab, by not playing f4. I just want to give him as many ways to mess up as possible. So he found one of them, it looks like. Because this diagonal will just strafe all the heavy pieces here. Very instructive. And then we just win material. Skewering everything. The bishop comes out very angry. So we went in exchange, easy game. If we had played f4, it would have been strong as well, but really closed. And as I said many, many times in the stream, it's extremely hard to play closed positions well, you know, when you don't have a lot of time. I think Juicebox should not exchange queens. You're talking about a position where you're down material, and trading pieces just helps me, you know, convert this mostly. So you should keep the queens on, Juicebox. Try to keep all the pieces on the board. Pray for complications, because it's just a clear exchange is too much material that you can be allowing me to trade stuff down. That's about it. We got time for we still got to finish him off, but we've got time for 2 last games against the subscribers, Bob and Nefidov. If Nefidov has time, I have time. So we need a pony. Got a horse. Next is the pony. Pony emote. Hopefully. Okay, he's going to bring his knight back to f3 and get it back in the game. My last move was played specifically because of this. I played b5 so he can't play c4 here. This is a very calculated decision. Now that pawn will fall as well. I'm already looking at maneuvers. I see these things pretty quickly. I'm good at endgames because I see maneuvers of pieces very quickly. When there's less pieces on the board, it's easier, you know. Not sure h6 was a good move, actually, but we'll live with it. Never would have guessed b5. Well, I mean, we're also fixing these guys. You know, we're going to play a6, and we're going to have these weaknesses fixed. I guess this doesn't really change anything. I'll just let it be. You could take it and put your rook behind. That would be another winning approach. I'm just going to take another pawn and convert it. Convertible. But we're up too much material. I mean, there's just no way. You would avoid on the grounds of slower passive. Yeah, but the thing is, Bob, we're up a massive amount of material, so you have a lot more luxuries than if it was like even material and very tense. I would probably not play h6. But when you have a large amount of material, you can be more cautious or whatever. So let's play these guys. Mr. Bob, I'm getting kind of tired, so I'm gonna keep away from e4. Keeping the tension, yeah. I mean, it's kind of a cheapo, playing for bishop f5. But as I said, like Nefedov's f4, it's fine. It's a good move. Shirov might have played that. I don't know, going for a massive pawn storm on the king side. But to me, it looks like you're reducing your options. Bob donated 20 more bits. Juicebox 100, Bob 70, move 11 with 5. We got on the board today. Queen's Gambit accepted is a good opening. I mean, it's interesting. Like, it's never been really, really trendy. Never a trendy opening for black, but it's always around. It never gets refuted. Bob playing kind of mainline Queen's Gambit accepted here. Perfectly good stuff. And I've never been that happy with this conservative e3 that I play. Toyed around with learning like sharper lines, but it's a lot of work, and you don't face the Queen's Gambit accepted that often. That's kind of been the reason why I've never deeply like learned knight c3 or e4. Well, knight f3, knight c3 is one good line, and another line is e4, but to be honest, I never bothered to learn the sharpest lines against the Queen's Gambit accepted deeply because I just don't face it very often, Now, knight c6 is a debatable move. That's something you could play if your bishop was out on g4, I would say. But, e4, one e4 is slightly inaccurate. Maybe. This is a bad move, I guess. He's blocking his c-pawn from active play. Theoretically, anyway. That doesn't mean that there's still not hope for black to achieve a decent position. It just means he's making it harder, and this is not a standard move. c5 is the main line. You need to play c5 to attack the center. The other main line is a6. It's usually a transposition. So, I don't think there's any difference, really. Now Bob is drifting into what could just be a concretely bad game. Now I have the center with e4. So we've got the center. Even though I made this move in 2 moves. It's too big a concession. Bob's knight c6. He's resigning. Why are you resigning, Bob? You don't like your position that much? Too early to give up here. He hated his position. He's winning a rematch. Are you serious? Just learning basics before I go on. Alright, Bob, one last chance. One last chance. No more rematches. Nefedov's up last. What's happening? You want to face the Karo Khan? It looked like you challenged me. I thought you were re-challenging me. Alright. He didn't mean to rematch me. Well, I don't know why you resigned in the first place. You should learn how to play a bad position out. But it's up to you, man. I guess you were just disgusted with your position. We don't know why you resigned. It's so early. I'm going to take the game with Nefedov. The refutation of the Queen's Gambit accepted was too strong. Well, he refuted his own opening. He played knight c6. It's not really good. It's just not good. Okay, Nefedov and I now have had a number of games in this now. I've got to find something new. His move order is interesting. Like, for some reason, Nefedov, most people would play, like, knight f6 first and then play g6. But for some reason, he plays this move. It almost makes you want to do something, like, crazy. Okay, let's try something different. I've been playing, like, bishop g2 and d4, but now we've got him into Benoni. Basically, Nefedov was playing d4 with white. Something he wouldn't typically find himself doing. b4 is interesting. Let's try it. This is the last game for the stream today, most likely. Anyway, guys, thanks for the donations. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry I can't play everyone. I took all the games with subscribers. We're going to be back tomorrow with a rapid tournament, 7+2 in the evening. Yeah, Bob just needs to play c5. I think even like knight c6, well, it's bad, but it might not be that bad if you could somehow play e5. You could try to play bishop d6 and e5 there at the end. Now, how is Nefedov going to keep his center protected here? It's very strange that he played g6 and then knight f6. I mean, normally you're going bishop g7, and you even have options to play like knight h6, knight f5. But I mean, mostly, I've had bad time with these type of lines. I had a game with Chom Istvan where I was very uncomfortable, but I drew in the Hungarian Team Championship, and I've had some online games. I just don't really like this for white that much, to be honest. I think against Chom, though, I mean, I probably played bishop g2. But the move order was most likely different. Alright, so now I think Nefedov might be just in trouble. I mean, what's he going to do about this? Knight c6? Knight c6, b5, and we're winning material. Learned an important lesson about the opening. Okay, so I know what he could do here. See, that's the thing. Nefedov not a really standard d4 player. I mean, can we do c5? I mean, that's the only try, it looks like. c5, b takes c5, and then knight c6. And try to hang on to the pawn that way. It's like a Benko gambit reversed. c5 takes... What am I saying? I don't know, I guess I'm losing my mind. Yeah, well, here. c5 takes knight c6. Only try. See, here he's just losing a pawn. I mean, can you possibly have enough compensation? Knight takes d4? Am I supposed to play knight takes d4? Not to get pinned, because bishop takes d4, bishop g4. Again, we get into like Rapport land and kind of weird stuff going on there. Maybe make me want to take with the... You're making me want to take the other way. I could play bishop takes d4, bishop g4, bishop back to b2, and let you damage my pawns with bishop takes f3. Again, reminding me of this game that Rapport had with Yevgeny Nair, but a totally different line. Rapport he loves complications, he would do that. What I don't want to do is give Nefedov real compensation somehow by making a mistake here. Okay, I mean, knight takes has got to be good. Knight takes has got to be good. That's what I said. A pawn is a pawn is a pawn. I am white. I'm not going to allow bishop g4. And I have nasty tricks. If he tries to get fancy with knight e4, I have knight e6. Which I assume, again, was good for white, but who knows. I mean, for that matter, knight e4, I might be able to play some crazy e3 or something, but even d3, no, knight takes f2. Knight e4, knight e6, bishop takes e6, bishop takes g7, rook g8, And then my bishop has to move again, and he could play like bishop takes c4. No. I'd probably win on a d3 fork. The c5 was forced. Yeah. I think that might not have been so bad. But Nefedov's move order doesn't make sense. He went out of his way to play g6 first. And then, why not just play bishop g7? So here now, I'm a little bit worried that this stuff is starting to become real, because obviously the pin now exists. I mean, this is protected. So bishop g2. In the event of bishop g2, he can play some crazy move like knight g4 or something and create issues. So my question is it worth moving my knight again, or some other move that protects my bishop on b2, just to avoid any kind of tactics? You just go back to f3, literally. Lose the tempo. I was going to put it on b3, but why not go back to f3? Just literally lose a tempo here. There's arguments for the other squares, knight c2, knight b3. But I think it's maybe most active on f3. But I think it's a psychological thing, and I was experiencing it now. Like, you have this inclination not to put the knight back because you feel like you wasted time. So that's like in the Scandinavian with knight f6. It feels strange to play knight takes d5 and put your knight back on f6, but in some variations that might be appropriate. Here I was like, oh, I'll play knight b3. But then I realized that actually, at the end of the day, maybe the best square is f3 because it protects my king. This knight will help to protect my king side in the future. I mean, I think that Nefedov has to find a way to play this very aggressively, but I don't see it. He's basically down a pawn without any real compensation. Want to crush the Benoni. JCS, like most people, I was kind of thought, yeah, g3 Benoni's a pretty lame line for white. But there are specialists who are so good. My friend, if you ever get the chance, look at my friend Zlatko Linčić. Like his games with the white pieces against the Benoni man. He's a scientist in those lines that he knows. Like, there are a lot of little moves and little subtleties. Well, I know that you like the Wojo repertoire, Wojciech, and you told me about that. Wojciech probably played the white side of the g3 Benoni, I don't know. But Zlatko, I witnessed Zlatko play a lot of games against people who play the Benoni with success. Now, queen d6, that's a somewhat artificial looking move, but okay. Someone said, why didn't he play e5? But I don't think he ever had e5. Dreyev recommends like the classical setup against the Benoni, with, I call it the classical. It's not. It's whatever you call it, bishop d3 and h3. And that's highly regarded. I think Alexei is another player who I know. He's a good guy. But Dreyev's book or whatever, I as far as I know, it's recommending kind of the topical main lines. So c5, we'll just take. Got to be careful. He'll be on my f2 pawn there. So Nefedov getting kind of cagey here. Maybe I should play b5. Play b5 and just keep his knight off of c6. He'll get counterplay with a6 there. Uh-oh, he's got tactics for me. He's got tactics. Be careful. Okay, knight d2. I'm not. What? Am I fond of changing the color of the board or piece style sometimes? No. I'm a. I'm really like the kind of person who gets used to one thing, and I don't like changing it up. I could, but then I'd have to like keep it that way for a long time and then adjust. I actually liked 3D pieces for a while. I kind of got into it, not recently, but there was a period where I was playing with online setups that looked like 3D pieces. Some people made people crazy. Um, as my friend Elon Schwartz said about chess, I quit poker due to perpetual brokenness. But you got to have money to play poker, you know. Unfortunately, I spent all my bankroll on life. No, I can't. I can't make enough living, and it's just too unstable. Plus the mental health. I always played like tournament poker, and it's really hard psychologically to do that and go really long periods without winning anything, and it was making me crazy. So I'm just playing chess, and this is my last chance to get better, I think. I'm old enough that I'm not going to get another chance. And I really have to try to improve before I'm 40. I'm 39 forever now. You use the 3D pieces on lichess. Okay, so are you watching this in 3D pieces now? Infinite? No, who's that? Turkey Farm. You're in the minority for sure. I think a lot of people are aggravated by the 3D pieces. I would never try to do the stream in 3D pieces. But if you get used to it, I like it. You know, I used to play a lot, a long time. Infinite Flash says I broke even on spending money and winning money in chess. That's not easy to do. Chess is not the most profitable thing. We caught Nefedov out. Now he went berserk and sacked a piece. He lost his mind, basically. I think he forgot how many pieces he had or something. He's basically playing like, what is that? Crazy House? He's actually getting, I'm getting excited now and like getting overconfident. Gonna play knight e4. Like, let's just develop our pieces. I'm still not fully developed. King g1. Now we're developing our pieces. Don't have to stop developing the pieces just because he gave me a piece. Let's be principled. I was tempted to start playing knight e4. Let's just think about continuing the natural development of the forces here. The forces of evil. However, in this case, maybe knight e4 is strong because he has queen e6 is fatal. Knight c5 is a threat. Queen c7 is probably forced. Queen c7 here is best, but he's down a piece. He doesn't have anything. That's it, guys. So we caught Nefedov out in the opening. He was bluffed out of his own repertoire. Basically, there's nothing wrong with what he does, but he has to be consistent here, you know? So d4, and then I played b4. This looks like clearly the best move. I think against Chom, I like chickened out and played like bishop g2 or something, and literally played like a reverse Benoni. But it appears that because I played the King's Indian with black, and I occasionally get this kind of setup with colors reversed, I know that b5 is interesting, but less interesting when you're black. But here, I mean, this has to be like white's best move. You know, seriously, we have to put quick pressure on d4 if we're going to get anything against black's setup. So the computer's calling for c5 right away. That's actually never been played before. That would be like, well, no, it's not. It's been played a couple games by strong players like Catronius. Anyways, Nefedov played knight f6, which is a mistake. Bishop b2. Here a guy played queen a4 check. That's a strong player too. What the heck is that? All right. Bishop b2. And now, so Nefedov not familiar with the Benoni. You know, he didn't know about c5. And this is definitely his best chance. So the point is that if b takes c5, he just plays knight c6, and now it's hard for me to put more pressure on d4. It's not even clear that I should take on c5, actually. The computer wants to play it like a Benko. You know, more like a Benko with bishop g2. And this is probably the best way to go. But it's a game. It's definitely a game. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Nefedov didn't wake up. Slow and weak. He didn't wake up. It's time to go to bed. I will see you guys tomorrow for our rapid tournament, casual rapid tournament tomorrow night, 4 p.m. EDT, tomorrow afternoon or whatever, night if you're in Europe. I'm streaming from the U.S., so guys, check out the replays, or let's say you guys can check out the streams from YouTube, Video Chess Training on YouTube. I'd also like to thank everyone for subscribing, for watching, and for moderating in the case of Soltigo. Thanks for your help, man. Much appreciated. Thanks for the donation from Juicebox Wizard, Bob Sakamano Move 11. Again, guys, thanks for the donations during the Simul on Sunday. I will see you tomorrow. So I hope it was useful for you guys today. I like to make it instructive and make it worth everybody's while, including mine. I mean, I use the stream as a way of trying to improve my own chess. So I hope we learned something today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.